Alright, here we go. We're doing a quick video on the law of sines. We are looking at the ambiguous case. Okay, quickly review. This is the law of sines. Solving an angle, solving a side length, or solving an angle. You can pause the video and rewrite those down or watch the previous video on the law of sines. Ambiguous case. In some cases, we might get two triangles out of the same one triangle. It has to be in the case of an SSA, though, where we have some side, and angle. We are not trying to prove this. We're not doing a proof. We are just saying that if I have two side lengths and an angle measure, then this is a case where I can find maybe an ambiguous triangle or two triangles within the same method. So, again, here are some steps. Step 1, we want to find the measure of angle A, just as we normally would, for the triangle that we have. What I always like to do is I always like to draw a second triangle. We have to label it exactly the same. We can't go and change parts. The only thing that might change is the value of A or C or so, because they will adjust accordingly. So, one triangle I label A, B, and C, and the other triangle I label A sub 1, B sub 1, and C sub 1. And then their corresponding sides. Alright, C sub 1 equals. Okay, so the second thing is once we find that measure of angle A, we're going to take 180 degrees, we're going to subtract it, and that will equal our new angle A in the second triangle. Then, if the measure of this angle plus this angle is less than 180 degrees, then a second triangle can be created. Okay, because all the interior angles have to add up to 180, and if it's less than 180, that means C could exist. If it's greater, then C can't exist, and we don't have a second triangle. After we're done checking that out, then we will find the measure of angle C by taking 180 minus B sub 1 that we have here, minus A sub 1, our newfound second angle, and we will find measure of angle C, and then we can use the law of sines to solve all the rest of the pieces. Alright, so I won't get into all of that today, but what we will do is we will figure out what are the two angles and how do we find them. And then you can leave it up to yourself to solve the rest of the angles. So, here's what I've done. Here's some work, and I'll go back and forth between the two. Here's the first step. I want to find the measure of angle A. So we take angle A, the first one in the triangle number 1. We go through the work, and 8 sine 28 over 5. We take the inverse sine of 8 times sine 28 over 5, and we get the measure of angle A is 48.7. So, 48.7, what I'm going to do is come back over here now and list this as 48.7 degrees. Okay. Now, what I want to know is, again, I'm going to take this 180 minus angle A, and I'll get my new angle sub A. So let's see how that turned out. Let's go to the work. 180, step 2, 180 minus 48.7 is 131.3. Now I've gone ahead and done some work, so 131.3 plus 28, is that less than 180 degrees? And yes, it's just shy of it. So we're good. So now what I can do is I can find measure of angle C. So let's go ahead and fill this in. 131.3 degrees. So again, I slide into my second triangle here, and I figure that this was 131.3 degrees. And now, as you can see, 131 and 30 would only be 160 some, so it's going to be less than 180 degrees. So I now have created a second triangle. Now all we have to do is figure out what are the angle measures of C. So for angles, I should call this C sub 1, 1, and 1. And so we'll get C sub 1 is equal to 180 minus angle B sub 1 minus angle A sub 1. So angle C sub 1 is equal to 180 minus 28 degrees minus 131 degrees is 20.7 degrees. So I know that this C sub 1 is 20.7 degrees. So there we have that triangle done. Now all we have to do is solve for side length C, and also we need to solve for this triangle here. And if we simply take 180 minus 48.7 minus 28, we'll see that this green is 103.3 degrees. And so now we just have to use the law of sines to solve for that C measure as well. And we did that once before. And what we got was 5 sine 103. It was 10.36. This is 10.36. And now, if I quickly want to solve for this, I'll have the 5 over the sine of 28 is equal to C over the sine of 20.7. So I can say that's going to be 5. So that's going to be 5 times, right, the sine of 28, or sine of 20.7, sine of 20.7, divided by the sine of 28, the sine of 28, and that will equal 3.76, 3.76. All right? And let's see, does that make sense? Well, it is the smallest angle. It does have the smallest side, so we are good there. And 8 is the largest side with 131, and B is the median, so 5 is working there. So 5 sine 27. Yes, that looks right. Okay, everything's good to go. Yahoo! There's 2 triangles. Check it out. And that is your ambiguous case. Rewatch the video. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Ambiguous. 2 triangles. 1 situation. Woohoo! Go Trig. All right. Thanks. Have a great night.